Hello, everyone. It's Francine here today on My Two Cents. I'm so glad to be here today. I'm so grateful for the people who are coming in today. I'm going to give you some time to come in to My Two Cents today. You know, we always have this on Thursday. We have it live where we are talking about the last episode that we have on Autumn is Here. Autumn is Here is my podcast that I have for a support for caregivers, for a place where caregivers can share their stories, for a place where professionals in the healthcare industry can give information to caregivers, to older adults, to other people who may need help with things in their community and stuff like that. And for people just to get more comfortable with speaking to their older adults and in their families, their parents, their grandparents, their uncles, their aunts, and stuff like that. So that's what Autumn is Here is about. My Two Cents is going to speak to the last episode that we had on Autumn is Here. If you haven't seen the last episode, it's okay. I'm glad that you're still here, but please make sure you get a chance. If you get a chance to see it, see it. It was very interesting. We talked to Kai Ford Hillman. She is a social worker and she has been involved with older adults forever. And that's why it's so interesting to speak to her. Hello, Lizette. I'm so glad to see you here today. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. It's the episode on with Takai Ford Hillman is her name, and she's a legal social worker, but she's also a caregiver. She also grew up with being around her grandmother. So she was used to being around older people. And that's why I entitled it, the being around older people really impacted her life. Hi, Sharon. Good to see you this evening. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. So the last episode that we were talking about is with Takai Ford Hillman. Now she's talked about being a social worker for older people, being involved with them, giving them services and different things like that, and then being a caregiver and still not really realizing what she was getting into. So it doesn't really matter, all the knowledge that you may have your degree and study it and stuff like that. You still, when you're actually in the situation of being a caregiver, you are surprised by some of the things that may happen. Some of the things that you may think is simple, just making schedules, thinking that you can handle it and things like that. And then you just have to ask people for help. It's not enough time in a day. So she was able to actually use her experience also, but also she also had some challenges. So some of the things that she talked about and some of the points, of course, growing up with an adult, with older adults and being used to it, she was very comfortable with them. So it was very easy for her to actually pick the choice of what she wanted to do for a living. She wanted to be a social worker. She wanted to be someone who helped adults because she was so used to it and she enjoyed it. She thought it was normal because that was who her friends were when she was growing up because she was with her grandma. So it's very interesting how that kind of led her into this. But what it also says is that it's good to get to know or have your children, if you're you're older, have your children more involved with your life with an older adults and be around them. I remember growing up, we kind of had a separation where you couldn't be with your the older adults. They were in this room, they were doing this, and kids had to be separate or the kids had to be quiet or whatever. But it's good to be able to share things with them and mingle with them and let them get used to you, because like Takai, it encouraged her to get into a field that she helped people and helped older adults. It also encouraged her to understand like about them and be more comfortable with them, and she was able to help them as she got older. And it also helps you to be able to exchange different things, learn from each other. Younger people can learn a lot from older people, and older people can learn a lot from younger people because life changes and you need to know and keep up. Hi, Raven. Thank you for being here. Grandparents are good to be around. Yes, they are. They are. How life changes and, we think everything stays the same, but things don't stay the same. And sometimes they can have some wisdom and some information that can help you, that can give you, some clues to what's happening now in life. Sometimes they say there's nothing new under the sun. Well, they have some experience where they can help you with that and share some stories with you. And it's good because if you're used to them, then you'll be used to. Be comfortable with helping them out. You'll be comfortable with talking to them. Sometimes if you're not used to them, you're not usually be around them, you're uncomfortable with asking them questions. It's good to ask them questions, to get to know them, to get to know what's going on, to feel comfortable asking them how they're feeling, to help them out. So she was able to do that because she grew up with them. She was able to do that because she was able to have conversations with them and even be around them when they were joking and playing cards and different things like that. She saw them having fun, so she was really comfortable with that. So she was able to use that for her career, and in her career she was able to help a lot of people who are caregivers, who are taking care of older adults. She's able to share her knowledge and information with them, share the services that they have. She talked about a lot of different services that people don't even know that are available to them. I see that Evelyn's here tonight. I believe Evelyn is here tonight. Evelyn, you can join us if you want to. Come on. Hi.
Hi. Oh
Good to
my
see
goodness.
you.
Hello, hello.
Hi. We haven't
It's
seen you
been
in
a
a while.
long time.
Yes, yes. Thank you for coming on tonight. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um,
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here.
Good. Well. I hope you saw the episode. We were talking about Takai Ford Hillman. She came on and she was talking about older adults, and it's very interesting when someone's career takes them all the way, from when they're younger all the way to now, that she's still able to help other people, to deal with their older adults, because everybody didn't have that privilege to be raised with their grandparents, to be raised around older people, so they're not really so comfortable. So she's able to do that, to help them and give them the services. She talked about different situations and different services, and some of the services that are out there. One of the things that she said, which was very interesting to me, I said, how do people know, like, you're older, you used to be independent and everything like that, how do you know what's out there, or services, how do they find out? And she was like, it's the responsibility of the organizations and things like that to come out and tell them. And that was the first time I actually heard that people said it's their responsibility to let the people know, to let the seniors know, to let the older adults know that they have these services, that there's
That's
these
good.
things. Yeah, that this their responsibility. She said, because they're there. Like the
Yeah.
city of New York has a lot of facilities and a lot of things for older people, and they're funded. So it's their job to make sure that people who need these services know. So to do
So
that.
Francine, my question to you is like, why wouldn't they share the information, or why don't a lot of people know about it if it's the organization's job to get awareness out there?
Well, I think that sometimes I guess it depends on how the organization is structured and stuff like that. But sometimes, people have certain places that they go to all the time. Like when I go to health places and health fairs, sometimes you see the same people there all the time, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
they do. And I think what Takai was saying, be everywhere. Don't just go to
Mm-hmm.
where there's a health stand, we're doing a healthcare thing this week. Don't just go there. She said, go to the churches, go to the block parties, go to the rallies, go to the political rallies, go to family reunions, go to wherever. Tell people, listen, this is what's happening. Do you know that there are people there, older people, not only older people, she's like families, places where families are. So you can tell them and let the families know that these services are here for you. They have services that you can get these equipment that this person might need. There's services where you can get meals. There's services where you can get financial help. There's services where you can get a break and get a respite and have a break. There's services where they have places where you can have older adults go to and have some place for them to go every day for a certain amount of hours. There's services where you can have people come into your house. So there's all these services that she was talking about that people don't know about. But she said it's their responsibility to go out to the community, to
Yeah.
all the different events. Hi, Keisha. Hi.
Hi,
Hi.
Keisha. So I guess as you're saying that to me, I'm just wondering, like, and this might already exist. does someone need to advocate for the families and for the caregivers, and so that these organizations can, I guess, be held accountable for sharing the information? Is that what is needed? Do you think the organizations like know that they need to come out to certain places, or
Well, I
they
think
just
they know. I mean, I think it's their job to do that and to know that. But I also think that, like in everything, there are, for lack of a better word, clicks. I mean, there
Mhm,
are things
mhm,
where people stay in their preferred place. So if I get to know you and I see you at every health fair, and there's another one, I want to go there because I'm more comfortable with you. People kind
right?
of forget that the purpose of being there is not to be with the people that you're comfortable with that's working, because the
Mhm,
workers already know the services. You know,
yeah.
it's about going into places that you may not be so comfortable being at, or that you've never been to before.
Mhm,
A street fair or something like that. People always ask, do you want a table? Can you want to set up a table? You can set up a table at any of these events, especially in the summertime. You can set up a table at any of these events that are outside, where you can get information, put out your pamphlets, and tell people. Don't just go to the same places all the time. Don't just go to the health fair places all the time. If there's something in a school, sometimes schools have things. You can set up there. Come out to the school. The parents will be there. You never know what kind of help people need. So it's good. Hospitals. There are hospitals that have different affairs and things like that. There's a lot of different places that you can go out into the public. You have to be responsible to go out to the public, and that's what I like about what she said.
mhm,
That says a lot of medical insurances have mobile units, yes, that go into the community and set up tables, stations to offer services.
love that.
Yes, the mobile units, people do that now. They go around to these different places because people can't get to everywhere. You know what I
Mhm,
mean? So you
yeah.
have to go to them, and that was what Takai's point was. You have to go to these people. You have to say there's services out here, for you. And we, if we're a nonprofit, we get paid from either the government or however we receive money to
Yeah.
do this. That's
Yeah.
their job, to do this, to make sure that you know about it. Because what's the sense of having the services if nobody's using them?
Yeah. I
And
was
that's
just
how you
thinking,
have
like, if they're not doing that right now, though,
to.
it does someone need to hold them accountable? So I
Yeah.
guess that's a question I'll pose to the audience. Like, what do y'all think is the solution for like these organizations not really getting to everyone? So maybe somebody can have some input in that from the audience. But yeah, that's just my thought.
And
Like,
I
if they're
and I
not
think that
doing it, yeah.
different states have different rules.
Hmm.
So there's different things. Everything is not across the board. If you're in a different state, you have different rules. One of the things about New York is that we're well funded. Other states aren't well funded in this,
Hmm.
for seniors, for older adults. They may be well funded in something else, but not in older adults. So that's another reason. So hopefully we're able to do this. We're able to get people to understand that they can speak to their state representative, the community leader, their assembly person. Speak to them and say, we want this information. We want to know. We don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe people aren't that political. Erica is saying, which episode was this? Sounds a very interesting conversation. Okay. This is the last episode. This is the last episode where we spoke to Takai Hillman, and she was talking about how being around older adults really impacted her life. It really changed her life. So please look at the episode. If you haven't seen it already, please look at it. It's on Autumn's Here. It's my last episode. But you still may have some information in this on this subject. You still may know something about the subject, or just want to give your input. Right? You can ask some questions and you can give some comments. We appreciate that. But
Hmm.
they would just want people to know that there are services out there for you. There are services for you to for counseling and stuff like that. Some things people don't even think about.
Hmm.
Some things people don't think about. So there's different services for different things for you to do. And her thing is to get involved with your seniors. Get
Yeah.
involved, have the conversations,
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
one of the things is that if we're uncomfortable, we may not we may wait to the last minute where they can't give you the answers that you need them to give you. You know what I mean? If they're ill, they're
Mm,
sick, they may not be. So that's why it's
yeah.
now, as you're growing older, and if you have children and grandchildren, get them involved with you and your friends. Let them be comfortable around them. You know,
Hmm.
you can do that too. You can initiate it if you're older and you have some children and grandchildren, so they can feel comfortable and know how to care for them.
Love
Um,
that.
Lizette says maybe the council person needs to inform in order for them to reach to the nonprofits. Oh, the council. Okay,
Mm,
yeah, the council person. Yeah, your representative in your neighborhood, assembly person, council person, state official, any of them. And it's it's just good to be able to. It people forget that everything is a community. We're all getting older. All going to go through this
yeah.
community. It takes a community. There are so many things that I didn't know about that was help out there for me that I could have used for my mom. What
Yeah.
I mean? So it's a community thing. We have to keep, and being aware of it. If you know somebody, like say if you know somebody like Takai as a social worker that knows about this stuff, and you hear about some event that's coming out, tell her, let her
Yeah.
know, and then
Hmm.
she can go to
Hmm.
it. If you know about it, something's happening at a hospital, something happening at a church, whatever, tell them, let them know that, okay, it is an event. You might want to be interested in that, you know, and just to make sure that you're, in your family, you're having conversations in your family, you're getting the younger people involved. I remember when my mom was sick and she was in a nursing home, my grandchildren would go with me, and they would go with me, and they were so helpful and they were so
Hmm.
comfortable, and they helped all the other people and all the other, so they weren't uncomfortable around older people
Love that.
because they
Love
were,
that.
they enjoyed it. It was just part of life. It was just part of what you do, it was
Yeah.
system. So they were taught how to help. They were taught
Hmm.
how to help older people. And because of that, they're friendlier now with them. They're more comfortable with them. And that, it's a training instead of having kids separate, kids over here, adults over here, it's good to have them because they're going to be the people who are going to take care of you. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I think this episode was really great because she gave a lot of good resources. But another thing was like, and you talked about that earlier. She was sharing her story about like how she grew up around older people, right?
Mhm.
And I think that this episode gives a lot of hope when it comes to senior care or like caregivers in general, because I know sometimes we'll talk about the nursing homes and different things, and you hear the horror stories and you hear all the things, but her story like gave some hope to the fact that there are people out there who are really called to do this type of work
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to work with the elderly, or older adults, I'm sorry. And I grew up around my grandparents too, and like they pretty much took care of me after school every day, all of that type of stuff. But I have to say that I still don't feel that type of comfortability around older adults. So I think you said something very important, that your grandchildren were trained to be able to be comfortable. Like it's something that I'm assuming that it's something that you felt was important to instill in them. And I just think that is great that she grasped that, and like that became her gift. Like I
Yeah.
heard her talking about it, like she's really happy and excited to be working with um older adults. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it brought a lot of hope to that situation for me anyway.
Yeah, but see that, that those are things that can happen. You take your life experiences and the things that you've gone through, and those are things that can encourage you to the destination where you're going to be.
Yeah.
Another life experience that she took was that she said she had Crohn's disease, and she was diagnosed with that very early in age. And then when she got older, she was able to understand, to take the experience that she had with trying to still be independent but needing help, and
Hmm.
how that helped her to understand seniors when they need are independent but they need help. Now they have to adapt to a situation and illness or something like that, so she
Yeah.
took her own personal illness and her own personal situation, and she understood when she understands older people when their life changes and they
Hmm.
can't do the things that they used to do and
Yeah,
stuff like that. So she also used that, and it helped her to be able to help them even more. So
I
that
love
was
that.
that's one of the things that was just, was really very interesting, how life experiences can help you to understand someone else's situation.
Yeah,
So that's
absolutely.
what I like about that. So I'm really glad that she's in that field. One of the things that we talked about with some of the concerns from for older adults, and some of the concerns that they have. And one of the worries that they have is that they worry about food. They worry about having enough food and different things like that. They worry about being able to pay their bills because they're on a fixed income now. you
Hmm.
know and these are things that we kind of have to plan for, start thinking about, because it's realistically, you're on a fixed income, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
Are you going to be able to live the life that you've been living, or what do you have to do? They have people who help you with that, who help you budget, you know what I mean? So stuff like that, or paying bills in general. If your spouse is the person who took care of everything and they pass away, it's if you're in that situation where you're married and you're a lot older, and the person, one person takes care of all the bills and all the money and stuff like that, it's time to learn how to take care of your bills, how where all the money is and stuff like that. It is time. I don't know who I'm speaking to out there,
come on
but
and speak to him, Francine.
but it's time to understand the bank accounts,
Yes.
understand where the money is and how the bills are paid and when they're paid and when they're due, and if they're all, if it's done and stuff like that. Learn about the house. I know when we had Lene on, she was talking about Lene Franklin. She was talking about Lene Franklin Porter. Sorry, she was talking about how her father started telling her about the house when he got sick.
Hmm.
It's like, this is
Hmm.
what you do about the house, taking her to the basement, telling her where the water is cut off, stuff like that.
Wow.
There's things that you can, prepare for, because when you're older, I can imagine that it's stressful if you have a partner, say for 20, 25 years, and then they take care of stuff and they pass away. Like, okay, not only do you have to do for yourself, but you have to do the things that keep up the house. You have to keep up
Yeah.
the things that, that used to be done by that person. So,
Yeah.
other things that they're concerned about is socializing. When you get older, some of your friends move away. Some of your friends, um, they pass away. You don't have as many friends, people looking out for you. Your family moves away. They move to another state. They get a job
Mhm.
somewhere else. So socializing was a big concern with elder people, just trying to be able to um, be more comfortable, just continue to live their life. Things have to change. They can't go out like they used to. They can't, may not be able to go to places that may not be as much fun. New friends, learning new friends at an old age could be scary, I think, a
Mhm.
little bit,
Mhm.
a little
Yeah.
bit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's
So,
it's scary right now. Come on.
yeah,
Yes.
no, right. He just says, yes, you have to be prepared. Yeah, you have to be prepared. And you're not going to be prepared for everything, but it's like, get some of the things done. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You
Absolutely.
only you know your situation.
Yeah.
Only you know if you have help. Maybe you have kids. Some people didn't have any children. So they may not have anybody that they know is going to care for them. Start
Mhm.
thinking about that now. Start thinking about who can help me? What will I have to do? Do I have to put money away for somebody professional to, come in and care for me? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some people, don't just, you just keep going on with life because it's just like that. You get caught up with your own thing, doing your own life. If life is good, you just keep going. But sometimes
Yeah.
we have to stop and we have to think about, well, what's going to happen 5 years down the line? You know,
Absolutely.
what's going to happen, to my bills when I don't have this income from my job anymore. I'm
Mhm.
only on social security or whatever. What's going to happen to, when things start going up? What's going to happen to me because I can't get around like I used to. I may not be able to drive. I can't see as well as I used to, so I might have to give up my keys to my car. you know
Yeah.
those things, things like
Francine,
that.
you said you're not giving up your keys though, right?
Oh, I'm never giving up my
She
keys.
said
I'm never
never.
giving up my
Okay.
keys. Sorry, I'm not. I
But
can't do
I
it.
think your platform does a great job of like reminding us like to not avoid these topics and not
Yeah,
avoid like you gotta think about it and you gotta handle it.
that's the hardest
Listen,
part. That's
Francine,
the
you
next
had
part.
like over 8 people on the live today. I just want to remind everybody, like and love and share, okay? Show some love, hit the heart, do the thing that y'all do, okay? So that more people can hear these conversations and be reminded of what we need to do as we are aging.
Yeah. And one of the things that you just brought up, like people avoid the conversations, they avoid the information. That's the thing about talking about stuff. I think about, one of the things is that I always say that, I'm not a professional, I'm not a social worker, I'm not in the healthcare industry and stuff like that. But I
Mhm.
also know that some of the things that started with movements and stuff like that were just regular people who had experiences
Right.
that were just saying, hey, let's do this, or I noticed that this is an issue, let's talk about this, or let's share this because maybe somebody else is going through it. I've learned that other people are going through it and other people need the information, and maybe it's not thousands of people on here, but there are other people, and that's how grassroots things
Listen,
happen.
you
And
giving
so,
me chills today, Francine. Wait a minute. You starting a grassroots movement here today?
Liz, okay, Evelyn's always taking stuff and going with it. I listen. I'm just saying what I'm saying. Okay,
I love
you know. Oh my
it.
God, she's always going with somewhere. But but I'm just saying that sometimes it's just able to share it. If I can help somebody, if I can help,
Absolutely.
or if you, anybody who are out there, if you have your friends who are dealing with their parents, dealing with their grandparents, or if you see a situation that maybe they need help, and maybe you can't help them, but you can give them this information. You can point them this way. Share the link to Autumn is here. Let them know that there are people out there that are going through it. Sometimes one of the things is, people feel like they're invisible, that I'm a caregiver and people don't
Mm,
understand and I'm invisible because no one else relates to me. People feel that
that's
way.
a good
Trust me.
one.
Trust me. Caregivers feel invisible, and you realize you feel like nobody relates to me because you'll be saying something, people be like going on with their whole life, and it's like, people like,
Yeah.
so and people don't talk about it, so you don't know that somebody else is going through it. And because
Yeah.
it's different, people think it's, even though you're a caregiver, it may be different because of your situation, but you still have to deal with some of the same things, some of the same fears, some of the same things like organizing, some of the same things like sacrificing,
Mm,
time, free time, some of the same things like deciding, what their schedule is and then making yours, having, now you have two people to deal with, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
you still go through the same things, even though your person may have a different illness or sickness or just need help. Some people just slow down when they get older, and you just got to check on your grandparents and stuff because they need help. They may not be sick, but they may need help. They're slower
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So this is just a message for that. Takai did a wonderful job of giving us information, giving us help, encouraging us to be involved with older people, letting us know that there are people out there that are helping older adults that are really, really dedicated to it, letting people know that there's a lot of services out there for you to get, and that, telling people to step up. Even, with her just saying that was like saying that, other organizations step up too. Be out there, be out there and share your information because there are people who need it. And that we all,
Absolutely.
as a family, as a community, need to be involved with each other. It should be
Mhm.
intergenerational. It should be intergenerational. We all should be involved with each other. Our children, our grandchildren should be involved with each other. So thank you all for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it.
This
To
was
my
fun.
those are my 2 cents, and based on our last interview on Autumn is Here with Takai. And if you haven't seen it, please go to Autumn is Here and check it out. And share it and comment. You can leave comments there. If something we didn't touch on, you can say something there. I'll get back on there, and I will answer your comments, and just share it. Share it with someone. So thank you for taking the time this evening. I appreciate it. And I hope this helps somebody. So please share my 2 cents with someone, or share Autumn is Here with someone. Thank you again. Remember to be nice to older people because you're going to be that person too.
One day. Okay. We're all going to be.
One day, God willing. God, it's a blessing. It's
It
a blessing
is.
to be an older adult.
It
Okay.
is.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everybody.